how's it going? Sorry for the delay, it's live streams. Everything always breaks on me. Hopefully, everything's going well. I apologize that I missed you all last Friday. Actually, I don't apologize that I missed you. I apologize that I wasn't able to do a stream. I do teach one class in person every year, and it's just 1 week long, and it's for the Hartford Art School's illustration MFA program, and it's a low residency program. So the students are only on campus in the summer for 2 weeks. So one of those weeks is my class, and it's just like Monday through Friday all day. So I was teaching last Friday. It was a fun class. Got to work with a lot of great students. We did motion for illustration, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do another video about that. For this live stream, I'm keeping it a bit loose. I find that in a lot of my other live streams where I have like a specific thing that I'm working on, I don't get to really engage as much, and I miss lots of questions. So I thought for this one, I'd keep it a little bit more unstructured and a little bit of a, ask me anything. Could be, related to illustration. If you're new to the channel, I've been a professional illustrator for over 15 years. Previous to that, I worked as a graphic designer for about 5 years. I do all kinds of illustration, from stuff for advertising, editorial, book covers, packaging, sometimes even some branding. So, yeah, I've worked with clients like Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Google, Nike, Adidas, Microsoft, Under Armour, tons of them. And I don't know. I've been winging it for a while. I did a daily drawing project for 14 years. That is how I actually became an illustrator. It was a little bit of an accident. I have a whole video about that if you want to find out about that. But I figured I'd answer some questions, maybe do some drawing, just keep it loose. Figured I'll check in with the chat, see how everyone's doing. I already see there's a lot of comments, which is nice. I do believe I have my stream set on like a super low latency so that there won't be a delay. Hopefully that doesn't mean that the quality is suffering. I've never done this before, so we'll see. Daryl, how's it going? Diana Lisa Robinson, how are you? Nice to see you as well. I do have some channel moderators in the house, and not that they probably don't need to moderate anything, but if a bunch of people join and you have a question and maybe I missed it and you really want that asked, you could always mention one of the moderators and they can make sure I see it because their names are a little bit bolder. But yeah. Jody Kelly, how's it going? Good morning from Seattle. That is awesome. And Diana Lisa, you're in Southern California, so we got 2 West Coast people. Where is everyone else coming from? I always like to, it's always cool to see when people are streaming from some very far away place. I'm on the East Coast of the United States, and it's 10:30 in the morning. I feel like it's probably a wildly different time for some of you. Danny Park Lopez, let's go. Indeed, let's go. There's a lot of channel members here, which is awesome to see. Chemi, is it Chim? How do you say it? Chim? We got Courtney Labine from Michigan. Sydney, Australia. It's probably like a totally different day. What is it? Saturday over there? You're in the future. Nems Inks, how's it going? Danny, you asked if I have used Procreate or Fresco on the phone. I have not used Procreate on the phone, and I haven't drawn in Fresco on my phone. However, sometimes I need to access one of my illustrations when I don't have like my iPad with me, if I'm like somewhere, or if a client reaches out and they need me to send something quickly, I'll just pull it up in Fresco and then send it directly from there. So that's super helpful. I don't I haven't tried to draw on the phone because that seems super annoying. I do have an iPad mini in addition to my iPad Pro, and I usually have that with me if I want something small and portable to draw with. If it's like not a situation where I'm going to have my iPad Pro, the mini is small enough that like it sort of fits in a pocket, or like a small bag, a little satchel, if you will. So that's my experience there. Fitness Glory coming from South Africa, and it's 16:30, which means that's I think 4:30 in the afternoon. Totally different time. Adam Taylor from the UK, Sarah from Sweden, Kim, Connecticut, me too. Connecticut twins. Jeff LeBlanc, Montreal. Raymond Adrian, Miami. This is just my live stream is just me saying a name and then a city. Awesome. We got people all over the place. A bunch of Ohio, which is interesting. The program that I teach in, the low residency MFA in illustration. So I mentioned that they're on campus for 2 weeks in the summer in Hartford, but in the fall and spring, they meet in different cities. And one of the cities they go to is Columbus, Ohio. So sometimes I go over there, visit some friends while I'm there. Andy J. Pizza is in Columbus. You guys know him. If you don't know his podcast, Creative Pep Talk, check that out. Wow, Spain. Illustrating. How's it going? Paris, France. Awesome, Hugo. Okay, let me stop just saying city names because that is not interesting content. What I will say as I glance over at my stream and I remember that there's the names there. Speaking of which, when I looked up, it was the amazing Sherm Cohen, who works on SpongeBob. It's one of my channel members. How crazy is that? Wild. Anyway, those names that you see rotating are my super supporter and above channel members, and they all make it possible for me to keep putting out videos at least once a week. Post videos on Tuesdays, but sometimes I do extras. Like today, there's going to be a bonus video that's going to go live right after this stream. I got a graphic. I made it. I'm going to pop it up. I did another one of these crazy drawing challenges, and I did this one a little bit different. In the past, when I had done these, I would start with like the short one and then give myself more time. But I saw that there's a whole bunch of these on YouTube that it's like a popular challenge, and they do the longer one first, and then they try to recreate it in shorter amount of time. Seemed counterproductive to me, but I tried it. I went in cocky. I got a reality check. But maybe you'll like it. It's going to go live after this live stream, so don't leave here and try to watch it now because it's not available yet. I think it goes live at 12. Okay. Let me get that off the screen. Also, this episode is sponsored by me. My new brush pack from Retro Supply Co., which you can find linked below, is everything that I use to make my art in one handy little package. It also comes with like a 20-page document going through my process, some tips. There's video tutorials exclusive to the pack. There's a color guide with like 20 different color palettes. It's pretty fun. And although it's only available right now for Fresco and Photoshop, I'm putting the final touches on the Procreate version right now, so that will be available very soon. I just need to film the Procreate videos. All the stuff is gathered. Okay, back to this. I'm going to try to answer some questions now. So if you have some questions for me, I guess like about illustration, but you know, if there's other questions, I'll answer anything. I don't care. I don't give a hoot and heck. I will be honest and answer anything you want to ask. So I see a question here from Raymond. He said, best way to dial the brush pencil to feel closer to drawing on paper. So I think there's a lot of variables in that. In terms of just the brush itself, like for me, I need some sort of resistance on the screen. And I used to use all different kinds of screen protectors like the Paper Feel or Paper Like, any of those. I think they're all good. I think it's probably not worth it to spend the money on the ones that are like $40 because even any matte screen protector is going to give you that feel. Um, I don't use one anymore because I have the new iPad Pro with the nano texture, and that is enough resistance for me. But in terms of the brushes themselves, um, it depends on the thing that you're drawing with. So I like to emulate what I used to do all of my work with, which is like a sign pen or like a felt tip pen. Like, let's see if I have one. So these situations are what I used to do all my work in. It's just like a kind of like a marker. They're called sign pens. They're also similar to like a Papermate Flare. And what I want to recreate out of that is just a little bit of pressure sensitivity. So I I have a brush that I use that really matches that. That's in my set, the Classic Inker. But if you're just like modifying brush settings, what I like to do, like on the Classic Inker, you'll see that if I go into shape dynamics, I have the size like change minimal, and then like the minimum diameter. Like I don't have a ton of pressure sensitivity on it because I want it to be pretty consistent, but also if I lift up a little bit, I can get a little bit more of a point, and that's similar to what I'm drawing with. So I think it's sort of like experimenting with the tools that you're using and finding the right brushes. That was actually the biggest thing that stopped me from fully switching to digital back years ago. I would do all of my line work for years just with a sign pen on paper and then scan it in color digitally. And it took me finally just like sitting down, finding a brush that was close. And then even when it was perfect, there's still that like adjustment period where you just need to practice using it on, because even if you get it dialed in pretty close, it's still a little bit different drawing on a screen versus a piece of paper. But now when I draw on paper, it feels harder. um, so I feel like the controls are better for me on the iPad. It's my favorite way to draw. Hopefully that was helpful. I was coughing a little bit, and then I drank too much water, and now... Okay, I'm okay. I thought I was going to have a hiccup or something. Let's see. What did I miss? Hugo says, do you recommend an iPad or a Samsung tablet? I'm 100% all in on iPad. I love iPads. Bit of an iPad fanboy. I think they're fantastic. I've tested some other non-iPad devices and they were okay. But I think because the iPad, like I know for some, the iPad can feel like it's too expensive compared to the competition. But the thing is, the iPad has been like great for so many years that like you don't have to get a new one. For example, I upgraded recently for my 2021 iPad Pro, and I did not need to upgrade for any sort of performance or like better drawing experience. Like it was great. There was no issues with it at all. I'm a little bit of a nerd and I really wanted to try out the nano texture, but like if you're just going to use like a paper like drawing protector or anything like that, or if maybe you're someone who's crazy and you can just draw on the bare glass, I cannot do that. You can get a refurbished or a used iPad for cheaper than the competition, and I just feel like it's such a better experience. But that's my opinion. And you don't have to have the Pro either. Like an iPad Air is more than capable. Like Apple is like jamming all of this like tech into into these iPads that have been able to handle everything forever. Like my iPad mini is like a glorified iPhone, and it I can open up like a 50 layer fresco file with animation and it just is fine. It has no problems with it. So that's my opinion on that. Um, Ian Yates, how's it going? You asked which illustrators, comics, cartoons inspired you most as a kid? That is a great question. I was really big into like Looney Tunes stuff, and like when I discovered Ren and Stimpy, it blew my mind. It was just so weird and bizarre. I loved that so much. It really spoke to my humor. Um, Before I even saw The Simpsons, I got this like Simpsons Rainy Day Activity book at a school book fair, because this was like right when The Simpsons came out, which tells you how old I am. Old as hell. Anyway, I got this book and it was just like, it blew my mind. I actually got a copy of it recently. Hold on. Oh, it's right behind me. So I hunted it down on eBay because I remembered it because it stuck in my head so much. But I got this book in like 92 or something. This one belongs to, it says Allison here. But there was just so much weird stuff in here, and I couldn't believe it because I had never seen anything that was just so weird. Let me try and just like the extraordinary egg sucking bottle and like all these like weird stuff. Let me see. This like frame by frame like flip book thing of like the Itchy and Scratchy just like smashing stuff. It was just so different and weird. Like this is a frame by frame of Bart choking. Like what? Like how did they like it just I remember seeing it and be like, what how did this happen? Because everything was just so normal before that. So those were big ones for me. Yeah. Also, I was really back then MTV had these like animated logos that they would do that were super cool, and those really resonated with me. I just thought they were so rad. Okay. Let's see if there are some more questions. D3PO. Would you do a feature sticker creation video using Fresco and share your vendor of choice for getting them produced? I have done a video. At the time, I was using a sticker vendor that I don't use anymore. I've had good luck with Sticker Robot. I hear good things about Sticker App. I haven't used them. I've used Sticker Robot quite a bit. I think they're a really good one. But I did do a video on that, which I can't go and find now, but if you search on my channel for a sticker pack, you'll be able to find that. Or maybe one of my members, or if anyone in there can find that link for me, you will be a hero. But yeah, that video is there. And then yeah, Sticker Robot I think is what I would recommend at the moment. They are great. Corvo, you said the pack is rad. Speaking about my Retro Supply Co pack. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you like it. It is linked below. Again, Procreate version coming soon. I was gonna leave it on the screen for a minute, but you know what? I'm not going to, because I want to let my channel member names just get some shine, if you will. Why did I just say if you will randomly for no reason? Like in my videos, I'll be editing. I'm like, why did I say if you will for no reason? I don't even know what it means. Anyway, hi. Fitness Glory, you said, what was something you learned at an illustration course that you never knew before? Well, fun fact, when I went to art school originally, I didn't take any illustration classes. Like I took some drawing classes because they were part of the foundations program, but I didn't even really know what illustration was then. Like I had it in my head from an early age that I wanted to be a graphic designer. That was because I used to really like taking apart like music album packaging around my house and like redrawing new ones. And someone, I think it was my uncle, was like, hey, you're going to be a graphic artist one day. And I was like, I don't know what that means. It didn't occur to me that that could be a job because, at career day at school, when they talked about jobs, it was all stuff that sounded just awful to me. It was like, I'm going to be a fireman or a cop or a doctor. And I was like, holy hell, I don't want to do any of those things. So I just assumed that when you were an adult, you had to have a terrible job. And when someone was like, yeah, a job is like designing, like drawing pictures and like making the covers for music. And I was like, why is not every single person on earth not pursuing this job? Because for me, it just seemed like the only option. So went to school for graphic design. I only became an illustrator accidentally. Like I just sort of assumed that all the stuff that I liked, even though it was like clearly illustration, I thought it was graphic design. I didn't really know the difference. So I like was doing a daily drawing project, and that's what led to me getting work. I have a whole video about that, which I think you've probably seen. But I can let me see if I can find something in this question. All right, something I learned in an illustration course that you never knew before. Well, so I did end up getting my master's degree in illustration after, like, well into my illustration career. This was in 2015. And I did that because at the time I was teaching a class at the University of Hartford. And because I was teaching there, I got a discount on the MFA. And I also had some like crazy imposter syndrome where I felt like I wasn't a real illustrator, even though I had been making my career as an illustrator for a while. But because I didn't like take any illustration classes, I don't know. I just, imposter syndrome makes you think crazy thoughts. So I got my master's degree. And in that program, I did learn some stuff, but like one thing is how much like people use reference and like how much, people like will project things and like trace things to like use the start of their work. And just like how much that kind of stuff is okay. And I don't know. I also learned that it's like I draw so much out of my head and like I'm not good at using reference and don't use it that much and like so many illustrators depend on that kind of thing. So I learned that I should use that more, but even adapting it to my own style, but just having that sort of reference. Let's see. Sane Delusion, you said, what would be your own version of Deadpool? You know how they're a dog in Deadpool in the movie coming out? What would be I think I don't really understand your own version of Deadpool. So like I've seen a couple. I think I've seen one trailer and it's the same one that I see all the time. And actually, I think it might be a commercial that's not a trailer because it has Wolverine and Deadpool in it, but I think it's for like a beer or something. I need to watch a trailer. I haven't seen the dog, but I saw someone comment something about the dog. So I'm a little out of the loop on that. I need to catch up. So I don't know what my own version of Deadpool means. Probably because I'm not the biggest Deadpool. Like I think I've seen the Deadpool movie. I know I've seen at least one of them, but there's multiples, right? I need to catch up is what I'm saying. Am I missing out? That's my question to you. Okay. Boo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Don't take. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to see if I can find something. Yeah, THC Temple said you can get a used iPad Pro 2nd Gen 2020 model for a good price, still extremely strong and perfect. Yeah, I mean, a lot of, especially for like just drawing stuff, you're going to be more than fine. I will say that if you are a Procreate user, you could run into layer issues because Procreate does limit layers based on the iPad. Like the more powerful your iPad is, the more layers you get. Fresco does not do that. You can have as many layers as you want, no matter how old your iPad is, as long as it can run Fresco. So there is that. Heinrich, you're saying 32-bit color versus Fresco 8-bit. What am I missing out on? For illustration, you don't really need to. Like I think we're dealing with like weird HDR photo stuff. Like it's, I do nearly all of my work in Fresco. It's not a thing. Like for me, like especially with my stylized work, and I'm not doing anything that would require that amount of color. Danny Park Lopez, what are your thoughts on graffiti? I think some graffiti is pretty cool. I don't have too many deep thoughts. One of my early influences was Steve Powers, Espo, who's a graffiti artist, and like Barry McGee. Big fans of them. Like mural stuff. Todd Christmas Clatter. Hello, Christmas trees. Teresa, you deleted your message. I wonder what it says. You're probably being so rude to me. Just kidding. Javier Cobb, how's it going? Thanks for becoming a member. I think I drew your name during a live stream. Oh, Diana Lisa shared the sticker link in the chat. Thank you so much. G Penny W204. Have you ever done longer form narrative comics? Not really. I used to, when I say used to, a very, very long time ago, I had like a web comic. It doesn't exist anymore. It was called Fat Red Duck, and it was a duck cartoon character. It was based on this duck that was in one of those like claw machines. It wasn't very good. But anyway, no, long form stuff is hard for me. I don't know if it's the ADHD or what, but I can't. I'm not good at the narrative stuff at all. I get distracted. Laura Eskins Art, you said very excited about Procreate version. What was your favorite thing to draw when you were younger? Let's see. I went through a lot of phases with different things to draw. I used to like to draw little monsters a lot, which I still sort of do. I don't know. There's a lot of like little muscle men fighty guys, which I like to do. I remember in like kindergarten or first grade or something, I was like struggling with normal school stuff because I was a little young. Like I went like my, the birthday cutoff thing. And my mom like had a meeting with the teacher to go over stuff, but she was like the teacher was like, but like you need to look at his art because he's like focusing, like not that it like looked good because it didn't really look good, but I was like really obsessed with specific details. Like I was, like the teacher was like, look at this guy has a quiver, with arrows, and my mom was like, what's a quiver? It's like, oh, it's the thing the arrows are like I was drawing a guy with like a bow and arrow and like in kindergarten. Like it looked bad, but like I was like really focused on those things. So I like to draw those kind of things. And then I went through a period where I was really into redrawing band logos. I think because there were some records in my house that had like fun type treatments, like it was like the Aerosmith one, or like this band Chicago had this like scripty thing that was like made out of a fingerprint, which I thought was rad, and I was like trying to draw it. And then like my older sister was dating this guy who was into like heavy metal stuff, and then I was like trying to draw those kind of things. So those were my favorite things to draw as a kid. Pretty much same thing as now. Okay. Todd Christmas Clatter, you said, do you have any other creative outlets? Sort of. So two things that I like to do outside of illustration. I have been rollerblading for most of my life, and I still do it even though I'm a little bit old, like skate park stuff. Uh, I have like a Instagram account where I post old man clips on there. There's also a YouTube channel that I had that I don't really update anymore, but it still exists. If you do some hunting, you could probably find it. But the Instagram account I still use because I still I try. Ideally, would like to skate once a week. Doesn't really happen, but sometimes it does. And I also do race car stuff. I do autocross, which is like a timed cone course where you try to do it as fast as you can, and then I go to like road courses and do like time trial things, racing. So that's not really creative. I think the rollerblading thing is creative. I guess it can be creative. I don't know. Those are the things that I like to do outside of art. Courtney Levine said, "Have you played any of the Splatoon games on Nintendo? They have a focus on art graffiti." Oh, no. So I haven't played much games played much game. I haven't really played games in a really long time. Partly because I get worried that it would take up too much time, but also I struggle feeling like I never have enough time. So it's hard for me to like do things like that. And I should get over it because it's important to like not feel that way, but that's something I really struggle with right now is just feeling like there's never enough time. So it's hard for me to make time for other fun things. But speaking of games, there's a really cool game that one of my good friends worked on for PlayStation. That's like about this kid that does graffiti and the graffiti comes to life. Concrete Genie, maybe? Anyway, it's a really cool game. I played a demo when he was working on it, and there's lots of good trailers about it. If you haven't heard of it, I think it's really cool. MZ, hi from Bulgaria. Awesome. Thank you so much for getting my pack. Hey Ron, you said the first time catching me live, and you've been enjoying my video. You said, have I designed any of my tattoos? Not really. Like I've had ideas, like that I asked to be done, like concepts. Not, but like I'm trying to explain this in a better way. Like they're all sort of silly, and I did these drawings of like fake tattoos a while back, and one of them was like one of those like Japanese dragon things, like in my style, going through a donut for some reason. And I thought that was funny, but I didn't want my own drawings because I feel like I'd get sick of them. Like when I look back on like my old book collections of daily drawings, like I look through them, I'm like, oh, I hate all of these drawings. So I thought I'd probably get sick of it quickly. But if it was someone else's work, it's different for me. So like this on my arm, this is a dragon going through a donut, which was based on my idea, but I had my friend who's a tattoo artist do it in his like traditional Japanese style. So there's that. Kiwi, kiwi, wee, 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 wee. How do you prepare illustration files for printing on super large surfaces, like super large poster or banner? Do you have to redraw it with vector? So it really depends on how big it's going to be. If I'm doing something that is going to be huge, I usually know ahead of time and I'll work accordingly. There becomes a point though when it's like super big that resolution is not, it doesn't stay 300 dpi. Like for example, when I'm working on billboards, you're working at a smaller scale, like proportionally. You're not giving them like a 40-inch file or a 40-foot file at 300 dpi because that's wild. Like, and when you look, if you looked at a billboard up close, the pixels are like, you know, huge. They're massive. But in terms of large things, Um, if I know it needs to be large and super crisp, like maybe like for example, I worked on some display graphics for Adidas that were used on like in the stores and then like on a vehicle wrap. So I did that stuff in vector because I knew it would need to be that big. But in terms of like just me drawing stuff without a plan and then afterwards I plan, afterwards I'm like, oh, I want to do something really big, or if there, like it comes a situation where I was like, oh, we're gonna print this big. It's generally not that far off because I work at a high resolution because I like the brush control that I get. So, for example, I'm typically working at like 5 to 6,000 pixels wide, and that translates to, I don't know, almost 20 inches or something like that. And then if it's going to be bigger than that, there's usually some wiggle room, especially at larger sizes. Like that 300 DPI number at 100% scale is really important when it's like a book or like a magazine or something that you're looking at close. But if it's a large format poster that you're going to be seeing at a little bit of a distance, it can come down a little bit, like 150 DPI oftentimes will be fine because it's not that like super intimate experience looking at it. Reggie Williams, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate that. You said that you and your friend are big fans and you bought the brush pack and have been using many of the brushes as your daily drivers. Could you possibly draw my friend's screen name, Alturius? It would mean so much to me. Well, I wasn't planning on doing names today, but because you did a super chat of 20 Canadian dollars, which is a decent super chat, I'm gonna draw it. We're gonna do it right now. Let me switch over. I'm prepared for this. Let me just write down the name. Whoops, that is a huge brush. I'm gonna go use my drawing ones. I'm gonna get sketchy here. Bring the smoothing down because I probably had it up all the way. I'll write it down and then I will find another question to answer while I am drawing this. Where'd it go? Altierius. Okay. Will, you said on your mastery of typography, is it a natural gift or something you had to learn through an exhaustive process? So I don't think that typography and like lettering is one of those things that can be a natural gift because there's too many there's too many things you have to know to have it be good. Like even my most playful lettering has some sort of basis in some sort of like rules of typography or like letter forms. So yeah, my background, as I mentioned, is in graphic design, and I, was also always drawn to lettering and type. So it's something I've been just drawing for forever. So, there is a ton of practice, and I think that is important. I think, the best lettering has some underlying knowledge, and like you may not notice it right away, but like, I can tell. And I think that there's some stuff that maybe you don't immediately notice or even notice at all, but it like helps it, like somehow it's a little bit more clear, or I don't know. So I don't know if I'd say exhaustive. I think it just has been over time. I'm just freestyling right here. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. Maybe put a little tail on that U to go into that space. Sometimes I'll just do this and then just, when I say sometimes, I mean like literally all the time. I'll just like do something loose like this and then make a new layer and draw over it and like find the things that I think are working well. Like this. Did I just? Oh no. I thought I switched over to my inking pen. I was just pushing hard that it looked better. So this like connection between the top of the T and going into the R like that, I think is cool. And maybe like this going into the S could be pretty neat. And then, you know, pulling that over. So I like this second part, but the problem is I don't love the first section. So I'm going to make a new layer for that and try some things. So I think it just gets up too tall. So I'm wondering if maybe if I could tuck the L underneath like this to sort of match that line. And then the A can be a little bit bigger. So it's like the first letter. Could be cool. So I think that's looking like something. Let me check the spelling before I do a tighter version. Alterius. Okay. Let's calm that angle a little bit. And I think what I'll do now is like make some guidelines to make it a little bit tighter. So I want to make it a little bit more dynamic by exaggerating the angle a little bit. So it's like maybe more of a thing like this. And then pull some of that in. And then I'll do like ones halfway across. You know, not everywhere, but just like some references to keep my type at a consistent angle. Like it doesn't have to be perfect, but having those sort of points is helpful to like get it closer. All right, while I'm doing this part, let me find another question to answer. Okay. From the three, you said would Fresco be good for making comics? So, I mean, I think I love Fresco as a drawing app. There is a feature in Procreate where you can like set up pages, which is not something you can do in Fresco. So I think it sort of like depends on how you work. I just like the overall experience in Fresco better, but you know, Procreate's great and it does have that page feature. So if you wanted to do it that way, that might be better for you. But I don't know if how helpful that is. I've never actually used that feature, so I just know that it exists. Which brush do you recommend? Joe Mo, you said, what brush do you recommend to get? Sorry, there's a emoji hiding the second part of the word. Lettering script. So that is a good question, but there's two different ways to answer it, because the key to good script is like matching, to getting your thicks and thins right, I think. And the key thing that you need to remember is like you want your upstrokes to be thin and your downstrokes to be thick, because that's like, you know, it's like emulating how it would be written in calligraphy, and like that's how the origins of script are, and it also makes it easier to read because that's how we're used to seeing it. And you know, a lot of people who are like, you know, experts at like script and doing calligraphy, stuff like that, using it with like, and who are used to using a brush to do it, will want a brush that emulates that. But I letter like an illustrator, meaning I do shapes like this and then I like fill them in. So I don't like brushes that have a lot of wild taper for lettering. Like for example, if I was, you know, just doing some script right here, instead of using a brush that allowed me to get the thick, let me see if I'll use this this one. So if I had a brush that allowed me to do the this brush isn't good. I need a more dramatic one. But anyway, what I like to do when I'm doing them is to draw it like this and then come in and draw the shape of the thickness. And I find that to be easier. So I just like the same kind of brush for pretty much everything, is what it comes down to. I can't believe I'm here drawing names on a live stream that I didn't even plan to draw names on. Well, I'm just drawing this name because it was a super chat request and I couldn't say no. Okay, let me find another question to answer while I am noodling here. Javier, you said, do you read comics, manga? Do you recommend? I don't, unfortunately. Minty Fresh Things, you said you did 2 fitness murals digitally and had to figure out how the conversion of resolution. Good stuff to know. Jeff Berger, you said, for your career, do your clients always have the contracts or did you need to create one yourself? And then recommendation for resources for creating a contract. So they don't always have contracts, that's for sure. Bigger clients almost always do because, they're working with illustrators all the time. But if it's like a smaller business or an individual, oftentimes they won't. And you need to have your own to protect yourself, which I highly recommend. There are a lot of resources or like good starting points where you can find things. I think, I'm trying to think. There's like, I think if you Google like artist illustrator contracts, you can find stuff. There's like the Graphics Artists Guild has some. Maybe Freelancers Union has some, I think. There's definitely lots of options out there, and I highly recommend using some sort of contract. Like even if it's, it can be super minimal. You just want to have a little bit of protection, and for more than one thing too. Like you want to specify what the job is that you are getting hired for, but also with illustration, like the price is a direct result of the usage, like what it's being used for. So you need a contract to specify what the project is. Like when you're working as an illustrator, you're not making your money on the drawing that specific thing. You know what I mean? It's not like, how much does it cost to draw a dog? Like that's not how it works. Like illustration is priced on usage, like what it's being used for. And that's because, it's what value your work is providing to the client. It's why if you were like illustrating just for an example, like a t-shirt for like a local business, like a small little a shop in a small town, and like that was the only place it's going to be sold, that would cost way less than if you were doing a shirt design for like Nike or something like that, because it's about the usage and the value that they're getting out of it. So having a contract to specify those use cases is crucial. I wasn't paying attention to the fill margin when I did this, so I need to refill it. Okay, let's turn off all this other stuff and then clean this up and make some adjustments. While I'm cleaning up, let me... Whoa, how did my modifier get all the way over there? That's crazy. Hader Allah Nodai. Hi from Iraq. How's it going? How do you deal with someone that steals my art? So, um, you know, oftentimes can't really do anything. Like if I feel like when it happens, it's almost always like just like some random company like in a country that I have no can't like sue them or anything. Um, so what I do is I just sort of share it online, and then people shame them, and then oftentimes they'll get rid of it. Um, and at this point, I just sort of take it as an opportunity because like people love to get upset about it, and then it's just sort of like a little bit of a self promotion. So I take it as like, oh look, I can share this thing, and people will be nice to me about it, and they will yell at them, and it'll be fun to attack this brand that's stealing from people. Um, and bring us all together to rally around hating a shitty company. And those posts tend to get more likes and stuff like that, so it's like it's a fun little thing. So that's how I deal with it. I have fun, I guess. Let's see, I think this looks pretty cool. I just want to do a little outline around it, and then get back to answering questions. While I'm doing this outline, I will look at another question. Cup of Noodles, thank you so much. You're getting into art late in life, and you love my style. I appreciate that. Have I dabbled in concept art? This was from Charlie Irving. Not really. I've never really done much in that industry. I did like work on a few concepty things a while back on the what was a Spider-Man Homecoming movie, but it was more like general scene graphics and some like credit stuff. But no, I haven't really done anything substantial in terms of like a lot of work in that industry. It's just not something that I'm that interested in. Okay, one last thing. I want to make it a little 3D. All right. Hope you like it, Alterius. Or no, that's your friend. But thank you again for the super chat. Ooh, I switched over right as we got a notification from a new member. Caesar, greetings from Mexico. How's it going? Heinrich used to gather the peasants and pitchforks. That's funny. And then Alex, you said that was a fantastic answer. Yeah, I used to get more bummed about it, but then I was like, yeah, it's gonna keep happening. Some people go the opposite route and get really upset, and then they'll put like big watermarks on all their work. But like, I'd rather not make all of my work look bad and risk having it stolen every now and then, especially now, based on like how sophisticated all this like technology is in terms of like fixing things in art and like scaling resolution. They can get around a watermark too. So like if someone wants to steal it, they're going to steal it. Oftentimes they just have people redraw it to get like the better resolution if you're posting low resolution. So it's going to happen. I can make new stuff. Daryl, you said, do you use paper and pencil less now that you've got a nanotextured iPad? So I used, it wasn't just the nanotexture. I used paper and pencil much less since I started drawing on an iPad. Like I almost never, the only time I'm really drawing on paper is if I'm like coloring with my kid, and then I'm not really doing anything of importance. I'm just doing it. Um, it's just so convenient to draw on an iPad and not have to deal with paper, not have to deal with pencils and like sharpening pencil or marker or just like mistakes. Just feel like it's so much more freeing to just sort of play around, knowing that like I can undo something if I don't like it. Whereas like on paper, I feel like I could be just drawing, having fun, and then like mess something up. And then for me, I'm like, I don't even want to do this anymore because I hate what I just did. And it just kills the vibe for me. So like it takes me out of it. Working on an iPad, I can just be like, okay, let me just get rid of that thing and then keep drawing. And then I don't stack the paper around. Yeah, Alex, you're saying you're happy to hear my thoughts on watermarks, and yeah, I mean, I feel like especially if it's not like an enormous watermark, like it's, and even then I can get around it. So it's like I don't know, I'm not gonna make my work look like trash, and not only trash, I feel like it just makes it look like a weird old person coming from, I guess, a weird old person now. Jeff, you said any client horror stories, revisions. Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, there's been lots. Uh, when, especially with the revisions, that's like something that makes you really conscious of having that very stated in your contract. And even if you're not doing like a full contract, even though I think contracts are important, a contract can just be information in the estimate. Like if you're sending an estimate for a project, just simple things like this includes development of 2 concept sketches with 2 rounds of revisions in the sketch phase. And then we will choose one of those sketches to do a tightened up comp. In the comp phase, there will be 1 to 2 rounds of adjustments. I always specify adjustments in that stage because I don't want to be revising a comp that was based on a sketch that we approved. So that helps them focus on the sketch phase, and then we do a tighter comp, make some adjustments, and then I specify anything out of this scope will be billed at a supplemental hourly rate. Usually put like $150 an hour or something for that. And they don't want to be paying extra for that. So because that's there, they're going to be more focused on getting their feedback all at once. Because otherwise, if there's no rules, they'll give you feedback. They'll just like see it, immediately give you feedback, and then you'll be working on it. Then you'll get like an email 5 hours later and be like, so hey, I shared it with my other partner, and then he has these notes. And then you've already been like doing stuff. And like, wait, what about these other notes? And then you're like combining stuff. Make it clear, at least in an estimate or in an email or just some writing. Contract is ideal though. And contract doesn't have to be like a crazy contract. A contract is just specifying the parameters and then having them sign it. But also like if it's on an estimate and they like approve the estimate, you could just have that like a part where they sign to approve the estimate. And if it has that information on there, they're agreeing to that. So that's the case. Sophie, you said, do you think there are still design studios who are still interested in hiring in-house illustrators? Do you see the kind of work you do as strictly possible as a freelancer? So I'm sure there are some, but it's very rare. The reason for that is because when you are a design studio, you're sort of needing to be adapting for each project. Like you don't have like a distinct style. You know what I mean? Like it's built around the project. And most of the time illustrators have a distinct style. So you know, the value to these agencies and studios in hiring freelance illustrators is that they can have a unique style for each project. And it just makes things more flexible in that regard. There are, I think, the cases these days where there is more in-house illustration jobs is actually in like editorial. There's entertainment industry stuff, but like, for example, like BuzzFeed or something, where they're putting out so many articles every day, they have in-house illustrators. But I don't know. I think there's so many more possibilities as a freelancer because you can work with lots of different companies easily. You'll make more money that way. And also an in-house job like can feel initially like security, but then it could go away in a flash. You could get laid off and then you're sort of starting at ground zero because you could be in a situation where like the stuff that you did for that studio, like maybe they don't want it shared on your own, or even if that's the case, you don't have that momentum you've built from working with clients on your own. So that's my thought there. I don't know if the second part was a little bit of a tangent. Stefan Bogner, channel member, thank you. Greetings from Switzerland. You said love your streams. Drawing huge motivation for you. And my brush pack helped you. Thank you so much. Design portfolio. Hello from Poland. Hi. I'm got a Polish family. My great grandmother was from Poland, I think. Pretty sure. Will, you said, is it just me or is the stream dropping in and out? I hope it's not dropping in and out. Is that happening for anyone else? I don't have any warnings on my side. Jody, you said you appreciate my videos about my career. You're an in-house graphic designer over 20 years and you're starting your own design business. Well, I'm glad that my experience sharing has helped you. Oh no, I have a second super chat for drawing your name. I miss it? Let me see. Fan funding. Oh, you know why I missed it? Because it said it was like small, so it said R. And then I also saw the Canadian things as the same amount, so I thought it was the same one. Oh, so okay, that makes sense. So now I have to return, you're returning the favor. Okay. All right. So I'm drawing Reggie Williams. Okay. Let me switch over to my iPad again. And I'm going to draw Reggie Williams because of Super Chat. Thank you so much. No, thank you, Rob and Reggie. You're confusing me with the R names and the same amount. All very confusing. All right, let me write this down and then pull the chat back up so I can see what on earth is happening. R-E-G-G-I-E. Reggie and the Full Effect. Do you know that band? I liked them in college. Reggie Williams. Okay, let me go back to the chat. Not top chat, live chat. Okay. Q Shaw, sorry if I'm saying that name wrong. You said you couldn't install Adobe Fresco. Any software you suggest on behalf of, as an alternate to Fresco? What platform are you working on? If you're on an iPad, I would say Procreate. If you have Windows or an iPad, the Fresco should work fine. Before I worked on an iPad, I used, I did everything in Photoshop with a Wacom Cintiq. All right, I feel like I need to do this one different. Maybe I'll do like some wiggliness so it's not exactly the same. Oh, but then there's these G's, but those could be fun because they could be wigglies. I like wigglies. We got so many wiggles happening here. All right, let me look at the chat before I start tackling Williams. Jody, thanks for confirming the connection is good. Heinrich and Javier, you too. Awesome. MechViz, thank you so much that you've been enjoying my video with your daughter too. Javier, you said, is there any character you've made that you like to draw more than once? Kind of like your favorite character. I wish there was one that I like felt was like my character and I like wanted to draw it all the time. But there's definitely things that I repeat, but it's just more sort of not too serious. Like if I had some sort of character that I really liked, man, then maybe that'd help with like shirts or something. Like I've been wanting to like make a new shirt for a long time, like actually have it screen printed and maybe do it like kind of a little bit different where maybe there's like multiple print locations, because everything I've done recently has been like on demand, because on demand has gotten really good, but like I just want one where I can like a new one where it's like a little bit more control, limited a dish, if you will. And I just like struggle so much to like figure out what I want on that shirt. And it's weird because when I think about some of the shirts that I really like that I have, like one of my favorite shirts is just this weird little drawing that Jesse Ledoux did of like a bootleg Mickey Mouse. Like it's like a weird Mickey Mouse drawing on a skateboard. And I just love that shirt for some reason. And it's just a weird little doodle. But like when I look at my own little drawings, I guess maybe because they're mine, I'm like, that's not anything good. But I feel like it's the equivalent. So I don't know. I don't know how this tangent happened. You were just asking if there's any characters that I draw more than once. I do lots of similar skulls. I have drawn multiple times a guy with a cloud head. I guess that's interesting. Maybe I should draw that guy more. I don't know. Dusty Fingers. Greetings from Los Angeles. You said you've been watching my videos on Fresco and you're trying to use that for graffiti animation and publish it with copyright infringement? I don't know what you're asking or what you're saying. X-Man, you said, have you done any tattoo flash sheets? So I did a series of like fake tattoo flash sheets that were fun. And then I also did I did Ninja Turtle characters in the style of like traditional Japanese I forget the monster, Kappa, like mixed with my own style, and I did a ton of those. And then I actually made a pattern that was licensed with Roosevelt, so that'll be available on like a all over print shirt soon. So yeah, there's that. But they're not like real tattoo flash sheets because they're you know, just for fun. Though if anyone wanted to get them tattooed, I would be supportive of that. I'm full on winging this, thinking about doing it like connected blobby, just I don't know. Like just sort of like bubbly letters that overlap and like maybe sort of connected. We'll see. Okay. Cup of Noodles, you said this guy deserves like 1,000,000 subs. Thank you so much. In terms of subs, I noticed now, where is it? I can't see it because it's too small over there. I think last time I checked, it was like 65,000, which is wild to me for a couple of reasons. One, because my channel is still less than 2 years old, and like my goal was to like hit 10,000 in a year, which seemed a little ambitious, because like I've been posting on Instagram since Instagram started, like literally since the beginning, and that was during my daily drawing project. So I was like posting every single day, new work, and I recently passed my follower count on Instagram with YouTube subscribers, and that is crazy to me. The other thing too is you YouTube people are so much more supportive. Like in terms, for example, I've had an online shop for my whole career, and I did not get that many sales for a while. And I get so many more orders now that I have this YouTube channel. And I guess it sort of makes sense because there's like a little bit more of a personal connection because, you know, if you watch my videos, maybe you feel more connected or something like that. But it's, I don't know. Like, if you told me 2 years ago that I was going to have a YouTube channel, I'd be like, no, I won't. But here I am. And I guess I'm a YouTuber now. Been posting at least a new video a week since I started. I haven't really missed any. I don't think I have. There's been a couple that were a little late, but I have posted a video every single week, even when I was not available. I had to go somewhere. I had done stuff preemptively. Okay. I'm like trying to experiment with having some of these lines like not fully connected, so they're sort of like blending into each other. Usually I have much more of a solid plan in place as I'm working on this kind of thing, but I did not this time, and it's been working out so far, so I'm just going to ride the wave. So I am going to have this loop over the top, so I'm going to use the modifier to erase with this brush so I can just match that line weight perfectly. And I'm going to look up and find another question to answer, because that's what this stream is about. Also, this is the first time I've done a willy-nilly stream like this, where I'm just sort of like mostly answering questions, but now I'm doing a couple of these drawings because of super chats. But let me know if you like this sort of live stream, if I should do these more regularly, or if you're like, no, just do a drawing, you dummy. And I'll be like, okay, sorry, I'll just do a drawing. But I am drawing right now, but you know what I'm saying. I'm having an argument with myself right now. That's why I don't have 1,000,000 subscribers, because my ADHD is out of control. Okay. I forgot I was going to look up. Okay. Hi. Artifacts. You said you're thinking about buying a dartboard. Do you notice any excessive heating with the M4? And then you appreciate the video explaining that it fits the 13-inch. Yeah, so it does, as I mentioned in the video, it does fit. It's definitely a little bit tighter in the dartboard, but it's not an issue. Like I use the dartboard every day when I leave it upstairs next to the couch because that's where I use it. When I'm at my desk, I'm using the the Sketchboard Pro 2 because I like it better on my desk. I like this stand overall better, but it's not comfortable if you're not using it on a desk because it's like thin and hard. So it's just like, you know, pushing into my stomach, my legs. But you asked about heating. So I find that I don't have an issue, but if you have it plugged in, it gets hotter in general. I also, I'm not using it in a very hot environment. My house has central air conditioning, so like it's never really hot in my house. So it could, maybe if it was hotter, it might be an issue. But generally, it's hot when it's charging at the same time as you're working. But it hasn't like overheated. I've never had it overheat in the M4 or my old M1 iPad, which I actually just posted on Instagram in my stories and on Facebook that I am finally selling my M1 iPad that I used forever. So if you're someone who's interested, I haven't had any, no one's committed to it yet. So if you're interested, shoot me a DM or an email. Because it comes with tons of extras, like the Banks stand that I did a video about, and like 3 different cases, bunch of extra pencil tips, all kinds of stuff. Has a fresh screen protector on it. Just, it's got some stuff. Okay. Let's get rid of this, and then finish this up. Let me see a question first. Richard, greetings from Chicago. How's it going? Fetty, the stream is actually happening in both vertical and horizontal. If you go into the description, there's a link to the horizontal one if you'd rather watch it over there. Goodness, hey from Nigeria. How's it going? Let's see. Raymond, you said Cloud Skull. It's a good thing to thing. Design portfolio. You said, do you animate or just illustration? So I do animation as well, but I think of it more as motion in terms of like, I don't do sequential animation, but I do animated work usually. Like I animate my illustrations or animate lettering, but like I'm not a full-on animator, if that makes sense. But I have a bunch of videos on like the kind of stuff that I do with animation and like tutorials and all that stuff. Actually, the video that's coming out on Tuesday is like 5 ways to easily animate your type or lettering. So, what was I doing? Oh, okay, sorry. I got distracted. So yeah, I do a lot of animated stuff. I don't know why I made that answer confusing. So because this is so much, there's lots of lines here and it's a long name, I'm gonna put it in a frame and then fill in the negative space, and I think it'll make it look a little less hectic because there'll be like the letter forms will stand out. Merge down. Doot. I also did that because I don't like how thin the lines on the W are. They don't match the rest of it. So now that I have this, what I can do is come back to the pen and just sort of like extend the areas that I think are a little too thin. And then I can just sort of smooth it out a little bit with the, go back with the black. And then also I want this to come up a little bit higher. and then okay, so now I can just clean up those edges a wee bit, that connection. Yep, like that. All right. Hope you like it. Reggie, I gotta fix this. It's a little too thick, but now it's a little too thin. Thanks. Heinrich, you said you're loving the L's. Thank you. Blanco. Is there a way in Fresco to have motion paths start and stop at different times instead of covering the whole duration, trying to bounce the letters in a... So, not technically, but what you could do is you could do some trial and error with the paths in terms of length. For example, here, if we like make this little letter, and I'll just do a couple here. Duplicate like this. So if we animate this, we do a path here, and like this one is like that. Let's just turn on the frame so it's not happening so fast. And then on the second one, we could do it like path, the longer one. Let's go way down here like this. What did I do? Oh, I did it on the same layer like a dum-dum. Wait. Okay, so there's that one. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. Let's move this over here. I just did it. I drew the path on the wrong one because it's the same art and I got confused. So on this one, I'm going to make it longer like this, and then I'll do this. And then if we hit pause and then play all, you can see that you could like play around with the timing so that they were off, and you would just sort of have to adjust it. The reason that one is so dramatic is because of the ease in happening way down there. So if we turn off the ease in, ease out, you'll see it makes a big difference by how far you pull it down, but then you could also adjust it with the frames. Like you could take frames away and it'll happen faster. And this would give you a way to like have it go at different speeds, and you could just sort of like fine tune this. I'm not showing it. Oh my God. Whoa, I'm the worst. Sorry. Howdy modi. Howdy doody. Howdy modi. Okay, let me walk through this process one more time, because I am a dum-dum. Delete path. Delete path. Okay, so what I was saying is this, real quick. I'm going to make one of them a color so I don't get confused again. Okay, so with the pink one, we want this one to happen first. So what I'm going to do is go to path, and I'm going to draw a path from like just the length of my document. And then, I don't know, we'll do ease in, ease out, and then you can see how many frames we want there. Okay, that's fine. So for the second one, what I'm going to do is, instead of it having the path that's like that long, I'm going to make the path this long. So now when we come back in and play them all, you'll see that that one happens and then that one happens. And you can like fine tune it by adjusting like the amount of frames. So, you know, the more frames you have, the slower it'll go. So if we take all the frames away, you'll see it's happening even faster than the other one, even though the path is long. You could also, like if you want them to be the same speed, just the normal path thing would work, and then you would just match the length, the amount of frames on each one. So if they're both, whatever, what was the other one, 24? So if we play that, that's a way you could get around it. MZ, you were saying that you were asking dartboard. So from what I've seen, their statement is like the dartboard does not fit the new one because it's a tight fit, but it's fine. Like I have a video showing me putting it in there, and you can see that I'm not struggling that much. Design portfolio. You said you often make illustrations about SpongeBob. Do you really like it, or have also worked on it as well? It's funny because like when SpongeBob first came out, I wasn't like a big fan or watching it. I was like in high school or something, or even college, maybe. I don't even know. And I don't know. I think like years later, I liked the style, and I also think I realized that like my style is very close to the way it's drawn. I just think it's a funny character. Like I'm not a huge, I haven't watched that many SpongeBob episodes, and like I just like to draw it. And I think more so, I love dumb puns, and it's the name SpongeBob SquarePants. Just like I don't know, puns just jump in my head, like things like that for drawings. So I think I did one. I can't remember what the first one was. I think the first one I did was Sponge Slob Dirty Pants, and I had so much fun drawing it that I wanted to do more, because it's like it's a very easy character for me to draw. So adapting it to dumb jokes is easy and fun, and it makes me laugh. I haven't worked directly on SpongeBob, but I've worked with Nickelodeon to create some like patterns and stuff for books, and I did draw SpongeBob in a lot of those things. I was supposed to draw them in like my own style, and like they'd give me like a list of shows to include in something, and I would be redrawing all these characters, and most of them were fine. And I remember early on like having a hard time stylizing SpongeBob, and I was like, oh wait, it's because this is what it would look like if I drew it in my style already. So I had to sort of, adapt with the nuances. I think I have one of the things. So for example, this book is a thing that I designed for them. It's this like activity book, and there's like all these different Nickelodeon characters on the cover that I drew in my style, but SpongeBob isn't that much different. But there's Ninja Turtles and stuff, mixed with some lettering, and then there's just like some more abstract little pieces of like pattern down here. I'm currently working on redoing my website, but the new one, which will be up soonish, has like all the patterns I've done for them. I actually did like a weird lettering pattern that's on the walls. They made it into wallpaper in their headquarters in New York, which is pretty amazing. And furniture, they have some of my patterns on like furniture, which is wild. I think they should send them to me. All right. I can do a few more questions, and then I've got to go. It's been an hour and a half, and I got to get some work done because it is Friday, and everyone's always like, yeah, Friday. But for me, Friday is stressful because I can't get work done on the weekends anymore because, I got a 3-year-old. He doesn't let that happen. And my toxic trait is that I love working, mainly just because I like drawing and stuff like that. So Friday, I'm always like, oh, I got so much to do before the weekend to start again on Monday. So also my other video premiered 2 minutes ago. And if you're all here, no one's watching that. And then YouTube is like, nobody cares about this video. We're not going to show it to anyone. And I'm stepping on my own feet. So I'm going to answer a couple more questions, and then I would very much appreciate if, of course, you smash the like on the way out and then go watch my other video. Or just turn it on and then walk away and let it play so YouTube thinks you liked it. But it's kind of funny. I will say, in the video, sorry, I just want to tell you a little bit about it. I draw an animal, but I was going to take suggestions, but then there was this news story in Connecticut where this iguana escaped from something. I don't even remember, but his name was Oogie Boogie, and it was on the loose, and they were trying to find it. And I was looking for some B-roll to put in the video, so I just like looked for animated GIF on Giphy of like a lizard or an iguana running, and there is hilarious. Have you ever seen these lizards that run on their back legs? I put some in the video, and I could not stop laughing. So it's at the very beginning. So I just for that, I think you should check it out. All right. Alberto said, do you have a video on how to make brush shapes to use as templates for drawing, like in Procreate with Fresco? So I have a video about the multicolor swatch where you can turn anything into a brush. Also, Fresco uses Photoshop brushes too, so like anything you make in Photoshop or had a Photoshop brush, you could use those in Fresco. But you can do really cool things with the multicolor swatch to like create weird 3D brushes or stamps of things. I did a video reviewing Apple Pencil tips, and I made a brush of an Apple Pencil tip so that I could have them rain down in the sky very quickly for a video graphic. So yeah, there's that. Jan, I keep planning on doing the live streams. I do them mostly every Friday. I didn't last Friday because I was teaching, but I'll almost always be doing a live stream on Friday at 10:30. Usually we'll announce if it's not going to happen, but almost always do them. Okay, one more question. Design for Fully, you said, would be great if you make these live streams too. So I do them every Friday, but do you mean specifically like a Q&A live stream? Because these are fun. I just wasn't sure how it would do, but it seems like there's ample questions. So these are great. I like doing them. Okay. Larry Brown, yeah, slave to the algorithm. You got to do it. Jesus lizards, they run on water. I think that I have one of those in there. There's the other one where it's just like running through the woods, and it's hilarious looking. Will, have you ever had a showing of your work in art gallery? I have done several shows in galleries. I haven't done one in a while. I was actually supposed to do a show at, I'm spacing on the name of this art school in Philly that recently shut down unexpectedly, but I was like booked to have a show in their gallery, and then the school unexpectedly got shut down, which was sad. But yeah, I have had some shows, and it's been fun. I would love to do another one soon, so if you know anything about that, have a connection, let me know. Okay, cool. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Go watch this video. I much appreciate it. And also, if you're still here, and that means you probably like these live streams, if you ever go to like look for them and you don't see them, it's because they become unlisted, but I have a playlist that has all the live streams in there. So if you just go to my channel homepage, you'll see, I think it's like 2 rows down, live streams, and then there, all of the live streams I've done are in there. You just won't see them naturally because they're unlisted, but in the playlist, they're visible. Okay, thank you. This has been a good talk. I will talk to you all soon. Okay.